Welcome back to Wood Shaped. It's good to have you here today. You might have guessed that this is the MAUI'S fish hook. This is the kid size Maui fish hook from Disney's Moana. So super fun project, super fun little project to do. Highly recommend it, especially if you have kids that are big fans of Moana. I saw the Wood Whisperer, he made one of these for his son. I thought that was pretty cool, so I was like, I'm going to give it a shot, and he has the plans on his website, so I'll put those in the description below so you can check it out if you want to use the same plans. Really easy, you print them out and basically piece the pattern together so you can create the piece of wood, and then so we'll go through the project, and it's going to be exciting, and thanks for being a part of it today. Now, this is going to be for a friend of ours, their son, who's having a birthday. And so, yeah, Maui fish hook. So I started out by printing out the template from the Wood Whisperer's website. Turns out his plans were very professionally done from what I could tell, and very well organized. So you just print out the 6 pages, line up the targets, and tape the pieces together to create a full-size template, which is shown here. So I'm just cutting the paper template out at this point. Start cutting down the 2x4s to the general size that'll match the template shape. Now let's head over to the joiner to get the rounded edges removed off the 2x4s and get those ready for the glue up. Now that we have the general shape of the hook, we can go ahead and start gluing these pieces together. And seeing as we will be grinding most of this on both sides, there's really no need to use anything like biscuits or dominoes. So no need to really worry about lining it up. The glue should do just fine for our purposes. So once I had the glue applied, I did lay this flat. I did clamp it overnight. Probably didn't need to be overnight, but it just so happens that schedule-wise it worked out for me. So I opted to go ahead and make a wooden template instead of the paper template, just for future projects in case I wanted to make another hook later on. And while I've been doing this project, I've had several of the neighborhood kids come in here and take a peek and see what I'm making, and so I'm sure maybe one of those kids will come and ask me if they want one as well.
Dad, are you making another?
Just tracing right now.
Yeah, that's so pretty.
This is the template, and then it'll be.
You're making Peter's fish hook.
Yeah.
Dad, that looks so cool.
Don't say anything to him though. It's gonna be a surprise.
Oh, Dad, he's gonna love it.
With the 1/4-inch template drawn now, it's time to take this over to the bandsaw. You could probably use a jigsaw, but I've found that on wood this thin, it sometimes tends to tear out. But maybe I'm just using the wrong blade for the job. I think I'll still stick with the bandsaw for this one. So I wanted to save the juicy bandsaw work for the actual 2x4s, so I went ahead and took care of the template piece. So we're just going to go ahead and trace this out, and we'll head right over to the bandsaw where we'll get to work on the 2x4s. One thing I liked about the Wood Whisperer's approach were the lines that he drew. A line in the middle of the edge and face of the wood, and then a line 1/4 inch from the edges. It really does help in keeping the carving consistent on both sides. I went to grinding on the fishhook and tried to follow the tutorial that the Wood Whisperer posted, where you basically round over from the middle line to the 1/4 inch edge line all the way around the entire hook. I really enjoyed the grinding work. I'd never actually used a grinder, believe it or not, and so this was a first for me. As in a lot of my videos, there's a lot of firsts, different techniques that I'm learning. I opted for the Milwaukee grinder, and you can see all the tools that I used on my website. There'll be a link in the description below. When you start to reach the actual hook part of the fish hook is when you want to go flatter and take off more wood. And so instead of grinding from the 1/4 inch line to the center, you're actually going to go from the center line on the edge to the center line on the face of the hook. So it kind of makes it flatter. You're still trying to round over, but your goal is to make it thinner and flatter on this piece of the hook. Full project disclosure here, I did drop the hook and it broke. You know, after all, this is pine, so, but Titebond always saves the day. It was as good as new when I glued it back together. Continuing on, I proceeded to make the recess in the handle area so that when the rope is wrapped around the handle, so it's kind of more flush handle with the rest of the body of the hook. I just used a chisel to chisel out the recess in the handle, as you can see here. Just be careful when you're using the chisel so that it doesn't slip and either hit your hand or your body. And once I was happy with the depth of the recess, since we'll be using 3/8 inch rope, I proceeded to move on to using the rasp to refine the shape a little more. So on to additional refinement. Obviously sanding needs to take place, and so I went ahead and did a 200 grit with the palm sander. Got it nice and smooth, and so I'm just refining with a piece of 220, continuing to use the 220 grit. I didn't go any lower than that. I like the results with what I used. So now that the hook is nice and smooth after sanding, we move on to the etching, and I decided to go with the razor tip pyrography, basically just an electric tip, and so you basically burn an etching into the wood. Same thing that the Wood Whisperer did. I really liked the result, and so I decided to go with that as well, as you can see here. So not something you have to do. There's obviously a lot of options as far as putting the etchings into the hook, and so I'll leave it up to you to decide how you want to do your etchings. Now time for a little color. So the bottom handle is actually supposed to be a bone. You have the bottom end piece that sticks out of the rope. The very, very bottom tip is, you know, similar to what a bone would look like. And then there's that little nub on the side. And so white lacquer on the entire bottom handle. Read the directions, pretty straightforward. Then for the actual coating of the entire handle, went with a Minwax clear lacquer spray can, and so basically just go through and do 3 coats of this, and that's what I did anyway, so leave it up to you on if you want to put more on there, but I went ahead with 3 coats. Now for the last piece of the project, basically putting on the rope around the handle, and I used a 3/8 inch manila rope that I got from Amazon. So you basically obviously just start at the top, and this entire wrapping is done at an angle. You want to leave a little bit of slack in the beginning so that you can cut it diagonally and fit it into the edge. And then you just continue to wrap. And on the nub, you wrap almost all the way to the very top of the tip, like you see in the video here. And then you just start changing direction. And I used all hot glue for this. After changing direction, eventually You will overlap the rope, as you see here at the top, directly in front of the nub, and then you just continue to change direction and continue to wrap until you get to the bottom. And you want to do whatever the best fit is at the very bottom. You may have to cut another diagonal end piece to just kind of tuck down in there. Exciting project to do. I appreciate you sticking around, appreciate you watching through. Hopefully this will be useful to you if you decide to make a Maui fish hook. Do not forget to like the video, share it with friends. Please subscribe right here so you can get updates to my future videos. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now. Oh,